Sound design is the cheapest and easiest way to improve the production value and quality of your films. And in this video, I'm going to be walking you through sound designing a film trailer and showing off my favorite techniques and tricks that I've learned from my years as a professional editor. We're going to be working with the trailer for my short film, Will the Machine, and here's a quick taste of what we're going to end up with at the end of this video.
Let's go again. Getting late.
Pretty cool. Now, if you saw my video on recording cinematic audio, you know that getting great audio starts on set. But once you're off set and in post, you can greatly enhance that audio and the storytelling in your film with sound design. And that's the main difference between sound design versus sound mixing or dialogue cleanup. Those latter two involve a lot more choices that are just objectively right or wrong, whereas sound design involves a lot of creative storytelling choices. To show you what I mean, here's a quick example from my new short film, Last Laugh Inc. Now let's watch it first with just naturalistic, normal sound design. Now let's see the sound design that I landed on for the final film. So as you can see, I really went over the top by adding all these heightening cinematic sounds to the beginning of the film. And what I think that's doing is making that intro more cinematic, more mysterious, more engaging. But as the film goes on and we realize that that opening was tongue-in-cheek and the film doesn't deliver what was kind of promised with that opening, that choice ends up mirroring the story and the tone of the rest of the film. And that's storytelling through sound design. Now let's get started on this trailer. Now I'm using Premiere, but it doesn't matter if you're using Final Cut or Vegas or Avid or Resolve, whatever. The techniques and effects that I'm gonna be using are all gonna be the same. If you're using something more basic like iMovie, you might not have some of these effects, but the principles will still apply. And as you can see, I've got the Will the Machine trailer here, which I've slightly re-edited just to show off a few specific sound design techniques. And I've left in some production audio that we'll be building our sound effects and sound design around. So
you're having some kind of problem?
Just some dialogue, sounds.
Let's go again.
The rest we're gonna build. So let's start at the beginning. We got this big drone shot here. First thing I would do here would be to add some ambience, maybe some wind, maybe some distant birds chirping, distant water. I'm going to pull up Soundly and let's look for some wind sounds. Biggest tool I'll be using today is Soundly, which is where I'll be sourcing all my sound effects. And let me tell you, as a professional editor for years, I've used a ton of different sound effects packs, sound effects subscriptions, services, and Soundly is just by far the best one. I can literally sound design a piece twice as fast using Soundly versus other services. If you go to getsoundly.com, they have a free trial where it's fully functional. You just have a much smaller library of sound effects to work with. But it's only 15 bucks a month. Cancel whenever you want. And the great thing with Soundly is I can grab any part of this sound effect I want. If I just wanted this 10 seconds right here, I could just grab that. 25 seconds, just grab it, pull it directly into Premiere, and look at this. Save files dragged into Premiere to a folder that is relative to the current project directory. Basically, every time I pull a sound effect into this project, it goes exactly to the correct folder on my Finder where I keep my sound effects, assuming you're using the same folder structure for all your projects, which you should. If I go to Reveal in Finder, look, it is in the sound effects folder for Sound Design Tutorial. Amazing. Now what I would like to do is actually take this part where the wind picks up for as the camera flies in on that second drone shot. So let's see if we can just move this over. I don't need the wind over the football game much, so I'll just cut it there. I'll blend these two parts together with a little cross dissolve. You want your audio to flow like a river. You don't want it to just have sudden starts and stops for the most part. I pretty much always do just a quick cross dissolve at the beginning and end or in between audio clips. Just smooths out any distracting differences in the sound quality. And let's push this over. I don't want it to pick up until we do the speed ramp. Yeah, that's about right. Here's the difference between doing a keyframe versus a cross dissolve on the audio like this. If I were to keyframe out the audio, Similar, right? But now let's say I want to add an effect to it, like a studio reverb. Reverb is an effect that I use all the time, which basically gives it an echoey type sound. Let's say I go down to the Great Hall preset, which is a good default if you want a very significant reverb. The reverb effect continues over this part that I've keyframed down to silence. If I were to use the reverb and just have the clip end with the crossfade right there, the reverb effect will go down with this crossfade effect into silence. And it'll end too quick, and that's no fun. So we're gonna keep the keyframe, and it's got a nice little ring out of reverb at the end there. Love that. Now we want some more ambience though. Let's get some birds chirping. And another great thing about Soundly, they have a pretty extensive catalog. The stuff that they don't have in their own catalog, which you'll see here, Soundly Pro Sounds, they also have an integration with freesound.org, and it will take all of the free to use Creative Commons sounds from Freesound, and it just throws them right here in their library. So I can grab the bird sounds from here. Good stuff. You know what? I'm gonna add a little reverb to it too. I'm gonna copy and paste it onto here. Find some river sounds. So let's say I use this one. It sounds a little too close to my liking, so I'm gonna put some effects on it to make it sound like it's further away. I'm gonna solo this so I can hear what I'm doing. First thing is to make it less loud. But I've just added a low pass. Low pass is going to let all of the sound that is below a certain frequency in. So all of your low bassy sounds get to pass through to your ears. There's also a high pass, which is gonna let high pitched frequencies pass through your ears. But I use these all of the time. I think in addition to the low pass, it needs some reverb. Oh yeah, it's very subtle. We're building this world sound. Obviously the crowd cheering here, and then we've got some boom, 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 these quick stills. Actually, I've favorited these sounds because I use them so much. Sound design favorites. These camera flashes, use them all the time. What I tend to do when there's repeated sounds like this in quick succession is make them get progressively louder, or sometimes I'll even speed up and slow down the clips as they go so that the sound is just slightly different. So I'll do a combination of that now. So let's get some football crowd sounds in here. And here's where that reverb is really gonna come in handy. So let's get that studio reverb back on. Let's go to Great Hall, and I'm going to really amp this up. Let's see how this is looking. Yeah, I would like to build that up a little more. All right, so one thing I'm realizing now is it's nice that we have this ambience, but when this comes up, I want that to hit. I want to know that we're watching a trailer here. And that's beautiful. So you might not hear this if you're on a phone, but this is a very bassy, just kind of drop. I think we're going to find some kind of a riser or a swell. The riser is basically just a sound that continuously rises and usually cuts off pretty quick. Swell is the same thing, but it usually has a come down. That's way too peaceful. That's kind of cool. A little unnerving almost. I want it to peak right around where we transition into the archival. Okay, maybe I'll try something else on top of that though. I like that. If you find one good sound, that's great, but you can usually make your sound design much more impactful and unique by layering other sounds on top of it. It just sounds richer, fuller, more unique. I watch things all the time where I'm like, oh, I've used that sound effect. Oh, I have that library. But if you layer sounds on top of each other, it kind of disguises them, makes them unique. I'm starting to dig it. Maybe we'll do some slow motion breaths. And we have this moment here where this tree is passing. So this is a moment where sound design can actually improve the edit, because I'm not a huge fan of that cut. So if I put a whoosh there, it might sell the cut and justify it. So we want kind of a low whooshing sound. And whooshes are the easiest sound to overuse. I'm actually pretty guilty of this. Anytime something's flying in or out or moving. Yeah, that is about right. And let's also put some reverb on it. Once again, you know I love that reverb. This is a shot of a Confederate statue. I want to make this moment a little ominous. What I often use in this kind of moment is a drone. And a drone is just any kind of consistent bed that's beneath all of your audio. You can have a sinister drone, you can have an ethereal drone, you can have lots of different moods that are very subtly pushing the viewer in a certain way. So I kind of like this one, it's a little airy. And as far as keeping this timeline organized, I go a little crazy at first and I usually clean it up later, but it's better to put long bits of ambience, music especially near the bottom of your track layers. Dialogue, production audio goes near the top, and then regular sound effects in the middle. All right, so what I've done is added some more layering to this. More ominous sounds. I put some walla, which is just crowd sounds that you can't really make out, just sounds like murmuring. So I started that walla over the previous shot just to lead us in, build momentum to the next mini scene here. But I want to do something new with this trailer. I'm going to take this line,
You know you can talk to me.
you can talk to me, right? And we're going to do something called delay on this. Delay, say analog delay. Settings, take a preset like Canyon Echoes. Here's what that's going to do to the audio.
You know you can talk to me. You know you can talk to me. You know you can talk to me. You know you can talk to me.
So that's a very clear echoing compared to reverb, which just kind of makes everything mashed potato, and you can obviously customize everything. So I want it to be a little slower than that. So let's bring it up to like 975.
You know you can talk to me, right? You know you can talk to me, right? You know.
So we have a lot of work to do right here, but we're gonna have some fun with it. Obviously, some kind of rubber stretching sound effect would make sense here. But since the short film's called Will the Machine, this guy's supposed to be a machine, might be nice to have something metallic as he does that movement. You know what? Let's just throw this in and put up some reverb on it and see what that does. Reverb is basically salt. If you put it on anything, it'll taste better. Let's see what that does.
You're having some kind of problem.
Yeah, that's better. Now we got this moment. These are fun for sound design. This is called a stutter. So we could do some kind of stutter sound effect. This one is gonna work great. It's a little too high pitched, a little too fast. Fix both of those in one fell swoop just by slowing it down. I still want it to be lower pitched, so I'm gonna do a pitch shifter effect, which allows us to directly change how high or low pitched it sounds. So I'm gonna bring it down.
Kind of problem.
And then for the kick, we're gonna put an impact there. That's fun.
Problem.
Yeah, baby. That felt good. Okay, so I've layered some more sounds in once again. Little metal shing under the glass sound. Straight into
Getting late.
that metal hit when he catches the bar, because originally it was just, that's not hardcore enough. We want like he's catching a truck in his hands. I've had some other sounds in here too. Let's just watch the entire thing.
You know you can talk to me, right? You know you can talk to me, right? If you're having some kind of problem. Let's go again. Getting late.
I think it turned out pretty good. I'm gonna take off the headphones. I'm happy with that. I hope you learned something here, and I want to be honest, this is not the first time that I've sound designed this thing. This is the second time attempting to record. If you want to follow along the full 90 minutes of me putting it together for the first time, where I talk through all of my choices and figure it out in real time, I now have a new place where I can put long form, in-depth videos. That's right, I'm starting a Patreon for this channel where you'll be able to learn faster with exclusive weekly videos, even one-on-one consultations with me, and you'll be supported supporting this channel at the same time. So check the link in the description. I really want to make this the best channel for filmmakers who want to improve their storytelling, no matter what their budget is. And with your support, I really think that I can get there. Also, I got pretty drunk in the Patreon tutorial, so you're not going to want to miss that. Thanks for watching.